Ostensibly, The Intruder deals with the integration of a high school in the South. The reality of the situation at that time, 1960, was that to everybody's surprise, even in the upper South, integration was met with opposition not only by people, but the police. This was a story about the biggest problem in the United States at that time.
I suppose you're a salesman.
You might say I'm in social work. I've come to do what I can for the town. The integration problem.
Oh, that.
Bill Shatner had starred in a number of plays on Broadway, but he wasn't really known to the mass audience. He had just come to Hollywood. I was looking for an unknown, but I wanted a fine actor. He's intelligent, so he understands the nuances of the character, who is double-talking just about everybody in town.
You go to school around here?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know they had a college in Caxton.
Oh, they don't.
My, they do grow things fast here, don't they?
I didn't know who Roger Corman was, but he must have seen something I had done. In any case, they wanted me to do the film. Well, I was an experienced actor, but I was young and unheralded.
The entire picture was built around the character of Adam Kramer. When Bill came in for an audition, he was perfect.
I thought this was a democracy, and I thought a democracy was based on the collective will of the people.
Sure, of course, sure.
And is it the collective will of the people that Negroes should be allowed to mix with whites right under the same roof?
When I was offered the Corman salary, he thought he was getting me for a good price. He didn't realize that he'll learn to his shame and sorrow now. I'd have paid him to play this role.
The opening sequence is designed to lead us into the town and the situation. I felt the way to do it was to be on the bus with Adam Kramer as he's entering the town. And at the end of the sequence, I panned over onto Bill Shatner playing Adam Kramer. And we saw then, we were seeing his point of view of workers in the field, and he's thinking of what is going to happen. The music, and I thought the music was very well composed, was designed to build that sense of foreboding. I knew I could shoot the picture safely and easily in Hollywood, but I wanted reality. I wanted the actual look of the South.
Shooting on location for The Intruder was harrowing. And as it turned out, where we shot nearby, people were being hanged.
I wanted the townspeople to play all the roles other than the leads, which were played by Hollywood actors. Charles Brown was a local person. He was actually a football player in the local high school, and the high school had just been integrated that year.
I don't know about you, but I can't tell them apart.
I did have several discussions with him, and I said, don't think of it as acting. Go back into your own life. What did you feel when you were in the first black class at the local school, and try to recreate those moments and just play them as naturally as you can. He was better, I think, than if I had brought an actor from Hollywood.
You Joseph Green?
That's right.
You admit you tried to rape one of our white girls today?
No, I don't.
What do you mean, no, you don't?
I mean, I didn't try to rape anyone.
The townspeople had an idea of what the film was about, but the script I handed out had some changes in some key scenes, so they understood the thrust of the film, but it was a little bit watered down as they saw it. Some people were truly against it, even in the watered down version.
So you claim you're innocent, is that right?
That's right.
Didn't anybody ever teach you to address a white man as sir?
I was met with opposition. As a matter of fact, there were violent threats, including murder, against us.
Remember, no violence. There isn't any need for it.
I still remember the night Bill gave a key speech on the courthouse steps.
I'll tell you something right here and now. It may be hot tonight, but it's going to get hotter for a whole lot of people. This here little town's gonna burn.
My brother and I got on a local radio station and said everybody who wanted to see the movie could come that night, and I got a crowd of a couple of hundred people.
The crowd came because we had broadcast we would give them prizes.
Your mayor And the governor could have stopped it, but they didn't have the guts.
During this week of shooting, I'd been screaming and screaming and screaming. I had lost my voice. And Roger says, look, I'm going to shoot the crowd. I'll shoot the crowd. I'll shoot over your shoulder. I'll shoot this way, the whole way. Don't say anything. Go. So I was quiet. And the crowd came wondering what the movie was all about, never found out.
I knew from having done similar things before that after a while the crowd would disperse. Seeing a motion picture shot is exciting for about 2 minutes. And then they realize they're just working up there. So I had the camera behind Bill, photographing out over the crowd right at the beginning in order to get the big shots of the crowd. And then I continued getting tighter shots of the crowd, getting in closer and closer and closer as they drifted away on the sidelines.
So around midnight, they all drifted away. So there's 3 people left in the crowd when they turned the camera around, and I still hadn't spoken.
Then I went in for the close-up on Bill.
The real problem, whether you like it or not, is whether you're going to sit back and let desegregation spread throughout the entire South. And it's an indisputable fact that there could be no other result.
And then I began to speak, and my voice was there, and I was saying, riot, rape, pillage.
The Negroes will literally, and I do mean literally, control the South. The vote will be theirs. You'll have black mayors and black policemen the way they do in Chicago and New York already.
He came through, the raspy quality in his voice actually helped the sequence, and he was able to say what we did not say in the long shots.
And we got away with it.
I knew the sequence that was going to arouse the most feeling was the cross burning and the parade to the cross burning, so I held that to the final night. And we checked out of our motel. We shot the actual cross burning first because it was at a deserted church out in the country, but we knew there'd be people in town for the parade. And I knew I was on dangerous footing with the townspeople. So I had cameras set up. We'd all rehearsed it in advance, and people were yelling and screaming at us. We were not certain we were going to get through that parade. We got through the parade, and we just changed a couple of things, packed things, and just drove straight north, 300-400 miles all through the night to St. Louis. I took great creative pleasure in making the film. I was disappointed that it didn't do well commercially, but it almost got its money back, and I thought, well, I lost a little bit of money, but I made a film that was important to me.
He brags about how this is the only film of his that ever lost money. And I think, really, that he deliberately lost money on it so he could brag about at least one of his pictures not making money.
It's interesting that Bill said I was joshing about it. I'm joshing about it now. I wasn't joshing then. It didn't make money at the time, but it was re-released in England a few years ago by the British Film Institute, and it made a surprising amount of money in England and in Europe. And when we re-released it on home video, it made enough money so that we finally broke even. So 40 years later, we broke even. Today, the picture's in profit. I might hazard that for today's society, Intruder would show them a world of about 45 years ago that was much rougher than today's world. I think a lot of people don't know how bad the racial situation was at that time. But it will also show that our progress has only been partial. This problem is still with us. It's been partially solved, but it hasn't been completely solved, and it will not be completely solved for a long time.
Be strong, children. Not muscle and pride strong, man strong. And you'll win this fight, not only for yourself, but for all our people.